Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
How retailers can protect themselves against friendly fraud, the benefits of Enterprise Ireland's FoodWorks Accelerator programme for food and drink startups, and how Ireland's new health insurer plans to disrupt the market. Good morning, I'm Karl Fitzpatrick, and welcome to this week's edition of Business Matters. Well, as retailers brace themselves for the busiest shopping period of the year, my first guest is warning them about the dangers of friendly fraud. Dave Smallwood, the Managing Director of Mollie, which is one of Europe's fastest growing financial services providers, joins us now to tell us about the ways in which friendly fraud exists. Dave, I know that you've held executive roles with both American Express and PayPal, so talk to us about your time with those companies and what you learned from them.
Hey, Carl. Good morning. Thanks so much for having me. Sure. So I joined American Express at a time they were building out a brand new product aimed at the mid-market, so smaller businesses than they were traditionally focused on. And we built out a working capital and finance solution for businesses across the UK and then into Europe. Great startup within a really big corporate, so that was lots of fun. And in that, I basically learned about being customer-focused and really thinking about how we can serve our customers in a better way. With that experience, I then moved over to PayPal, and I joined PayPal at a very, very exciting time in Europe when there weren't that many people working for the company, and we really only had eBay and a few merchants or businesses as clients. And it was about building the relationships on eBay to then help those customers start selling on their own website. And we built a business from the ground up. I was there for about 13 years, so quite a lot of time. Great experience, great team. And, I basically ended my time there looking after a section of the partnerships organization, helping merchants or businesses work with PayPal in all sorts of different markets around the world.
So talk to us about Mollie and the growth which it has achieved across Europe.
So Mollie's an amazing growth story. It's been in market for about 20 years, and only really in the last 5 or so has really gone pan-European. And in that time frame, we've built up about 250,000 business relationships that we service with payment gateway solutions for payment solutions, alternative payment methods so that they can meet their customers' demands wherever they are in Europe, and financing solutions like working capital.
And as Mollie is operating within a particularly competitive space, how does it set itself apart from the competition?
This is one of the things that really attracted me to the Mollie business when I was exploring a new role. And it was really that they everything they do is totally customer obsessed. So that actually shines through in our value proposition and shines through in the way that we look after our customers, our pricing to customers, the way our teams are structured, the way our business runs. So that's actually one of our differentiators is we are there to pick up the phone, to answer an email, to come back to our business clients really, really quickly in comparison to the rest of the market. And you can see that shine through in reviews and the likes when you look at us versus other payment providers.
And of course, Black Friday takes place on November 29th, and this will be one of the busiest days in the year for retailers. But I know that you were warning retailers about friendly fraud. So what is friendly fraud all about?
Sure. So friendly fraud by definition is a legitimate customer makes a legitimate purchase, and the goods are delivered as promised, and everything happens perfectly. And then the consumer starts claiming, I didn't receive the item, or I didn't authorize this purchase. And it is quite a big problem in the payments world. And it's really, you need to work with payment providers that can help you mitigate that and reduce that type of scenario with card information, screening, fraud tools that will help businesses avoid those scenarios or defend against those scenarios.
And how can retailers spot the signs of friendly fraud at an early stage?
If you've seen someone do this once before and they've won, they'll very likely try again. And looking for those sorts of behaviors and patterns is really, really important so that you can stop it from continuing to happen. But you also have to trust the customer. You have to be out there in the market trying to serve your customers as well. And you can't be over sensitive to this topic either, because then you'll be losing sales.
And what's the payment processor's approach to this?
It depends. Some payment processors just let you get on with it and allow you to plug in whatever tools you want to try and mitigate this or reduce it. Where we stand differently to quite a number of the rest is we have tools that are built into our solution that then flag to merchants what they should be thinking about in this space.
I also want to look at chargebacks. How are they abused and ultimately causing a loss for the retailer?
Chargebacks are very painful for merchants. Now, if a merchant does everything they're supposed to do, they should be able to defend against the chargeback. Proof of delivery for the items shipped and within the time frame that was stated in the terms and conditions of sale. So, businesses can defend chargebacks if they work the right process and they're working with a payment service provider that can help them. What you very often find is there are some payment providers out there that sort of, again, just give you a notice on a piece of paper and that's it. And you don't have a defense and you can't fight it. It's too late.
So ultimately, a retailer should be doing their due diligence on the payment processors to decide which one best protects them in that respect.
Absolutely. And you can definitely ask your payment provider, what's your loss rate or your chargeback rate in this industry or in this vertical or in this geography that's relevant for your business. And they should be able to give that to you in the sales process. And
talk to us about refund abuse and the hidden costs which retailers incur as a result.
So that refund abuse piece is it's a very big problem for retailers, especially fashion. There's a huge amount of consumer behavior out in the market that says if you go and buy something you don't like it, you immediately refund it. Now, that's not necessarily abuse, but if they keep on doing it, it's going to cause problems for the businesses that have that type of customer behavior. And it's really when a consumer exploits the return policies by using products and then returning them for a full refund. That's actually refund abuse in the view that we look at. And what merchants can do there is have really strict policies that are very clear about when they will not receive goods. But also within the UK and around Europe, there are cooling off periods on transactions, and you can't really get away from that. So again, flagging those consumers that are doing it and making sure that you keep an eye on them the next time they come around. It's really important.
And returning to Mollie, where are the growth opportunities for the business over the coming months, Dave?
There are tons. The UK and Ireland are absolutely in our crosshairs for growth, and we're already experiencing really fast growth in both markets. We've got some really great businesses going live over the next few weeks and months that will shift the profile for us in those countries. So that's definitely one area. We're also looking at other alternative payment methods, so new payment methods that are relevant to consumers country by country. And Mollie's got a great track record of looking at what's on the horizon, looking at where consumer demand is, and then very quickly putting that into their product stack and making that available for their business clients to use.
Dave, of course, we've seen the emergence of buy now, pay later providers entering the market in recent years, such as Klarna. How have you embedded them into your own business?
We have a strong partnership with companies like Klarna and others that enable business clients of ours to sell credit facilities to consumers at point of sale. To the point previously, we turn those relationships on because there is consumer demand for those services in the markets that we work in. We again align very quickly with our businesses and our business clients' needs to make that work. And we've got very strong partnerships and really good volume that comes from those types of payment methods.
And when we go back to the likes of fraud and abuse in terms of purchases, surely Klarna and others like them are absolutely ripe for that.
Because of the way their systems work, and instead of it just being a one transaction that could then be disputed, it's actually multiple transactions over a period of time. And so consumers have multiple points at which to go, oh, actually, I didn't really like that thing that I just bought and I don't really want it anymore. And because of the frequency of payment and the way that these models work, it provides a few opportunities for consumers to be like, well, actually, don't want to pay for this thing anymore. But Klarna and others have become very, very strong on this point around making sure they support consumers and businesses so that you get to good outcomes for both.
And earlier this year, the company introduced Mollie invoicing. Are there any plans to roll out any other new products for your customers over the next 12 months?
Yes, absolutely. So Mollie invoicing, one thing that we've announced recently, we've also just announced the partnership with HubSpot on that front. So you can use HubSpot to send out payment links to your clients, and the clients can click and pay on a website very easily. That sort of innovation is happening all the time. Another one is Mollie Capital, where we are funding and helping businesses gain access to really simple, fast, easy to use, no bureaucracy, no red tape, working capital and advances to help those businesses scale or buy inventory or do marketing, whatever they need to for their business to grow fast. And we help them with that. And what makes Mollie unique in this space is we don't only do it that advanced based on their e-commerce volume of the merchant, we do it on their total sales. So if they've got in-store and they've got, point of sale, and then they've also got online, we put the full number together and look at it as a holistic picture for the merchant.
And where do you see innovation coming from in your space over the next 5 years?
The ability to quickly turn on and off different payment methods based on the end consumer. So dynamically switching in, this customer's used Apple Pay before, let's only show them Apple Pay, is an interesting space that is evolving very quickly. And that then goes back to customer preference or consumer preference. If you can show consumers exactly the thing that they're used to at exactly the point that you want them to do something, it's more likely they'll do it, right? And the more people can do that, the better.
And of course, you have great insights into what's happening in the world of retail. What are the smartest retailers doing out there today that others can learn from?
The smartest retailers that I've been seeing over the last probably 2-3 years even are extending the life of these sale periods like Black Friday. So rather than it being Black Friday, it's the whole month of November, right? And really driving campaigns and pushing personalized messages to consumers to get them to buy it onto offers during these peak seasons. And it's not just on that one day or that weekend, it's actually across the period. And that does a few things. It slows down the urgency and the need for inventory and mass chaos on those crazy peak days, but it also increases the total number of sales through the period.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Dave Smallwood from Mollie. And I'd like to thank Dave for sharing his advice about friendly fraud with us this morning.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.